welcome to the final video in the series on the mapping project we'll be doing as part of the Welcome Week for Extended Engineering and Extended Science. There will also be a very short video summarising the process, which will be published also in this series and in the same YouTube playlist. Okay, this is, as I mentioned, done by both Extended Science and Extended Engineering. Two big groups, so we're going to talk first about the engineers and their task. Now, as you recall from the previous videos, we want to ask you to go with your GPS-equipped phones to take photographs of interesting objects in the local environment, which will then add to a map. Okay, so the engineers will be looking at what's known as the built environment. As it implies, this is structures from roads and large buildings on down. They've been built by humans. An important multidisciplinary subject which links a lot of the engineering disciplines together. It's not just roads or pavements or buildings. There's what's called street furniture, and now that's not where somebody's left a sofa in the street. It's objects essentially that have been built as part of town planning. So we've got lampposts there, we've got a telephone box, we have a pedestrian crossing and traffic lights, and we have strange black boxes which appear apparently randomly in the environment. I've also got those things on the left which are lights that have been built into the ground. Okay, there's a big television screen near the town hall, which was a very popular attraction during the recent Olympics. Telephone boxes, there's one just outside the university. Waste bins, bus shelters which now include, certainly the ones in the town centre, now include information about when buses are due in real time. But we don't just want you to take photographs of interesting street furniture objects, possibly with members of your team in the photograph. What we also want you to do is think about what they're used for, how many of them are. There are other issues such as aesthetics and appropriacy. We saw a couple of slides back, there was a picture of some lights that had been embedded in the floor. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a sensible idea? Your comments on these will be very helpful and will add to your enjoyment of the project. Okay, there's something for the scientists. Extended science, like extended engineering, leads onto a different number of degrees, all of which have potential uses for mapping. So something you might want to think about is, what are the potential uses for mapping in the degree I'm interested in going on to do? As the leader of Extended Science, I will certainly be coming back to this in the Learning Skills module. So you should be starting to have a little think about this now. What we want you to do is have a look at the environments of Teesside University. So shops, restaurants, parks, pubs, landmarks, etc. There's a very famous landmark of Teesside. Quite away from the university, it has to be said, probably about 1.5 miles, so maybe you don't want to go quite that far. There's plenty of things of interest in the local area. There's one of the many famous statues in Middlesbrough you might want to track down, and there's one of the many Greg shops in Middlesbrough which are hard to avoid. Captain Cook's Chippy nearby as well, a well-known clothes shop, and well-known places where students and other people can enjoy themselves and have a drink and listen to music. So it's up to you to go around, divide them into little groups, decide which group is going to look at shops. Perhaps some people may want to look at charity shops, for example, from the point of view of clothing. Some people might want to look at restaurants. Some people might want to look at fast food restaurants. Other people might want to look at the local parks or pubs or coffee shops. We'll talk about this during the briefing session on the Tuesday. Okay, so here's a task for the scientist. Use a mapping equipment and software and do a survey of Middlesbrough Town Centre with different groups looking at, for example, these types of categories of shop and other local landmarks. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. We're happy to take suggestions from you. Okay, so that's all, folks. Thanks for listening. As I mentioned, there will be a short final video summarising the process.